Scrapy actually has two different spider classes that we can inherit from. The first one is the generic spider, which we've shown plenty of times in other videos. But there's also the CrawlSpider. Now this does exactly what you might think it would do. It can actually crawl websites, finding links and following them. We can actually use the rules and the link extractor to really decide which links we want to follow. And then based on those rules, we can also pass off those links to our callback and our pass function to scrape that data out. In this video, I'm going to show you how. Once you've started your Scrapy project and you've generated the spider using the default template, you'll end up with something that looks like this. I've got my name and my allowed domains and the start URLs here. But the first thing that we want to do is we actually want to be able to import in the CrawlSpider that we need. So what I'm going to do is from scrapy.spiders import CrawlSpider. And this is going to give us access to that other spider option that we want. I'm also going to import rule from this as well. And then from link scrapy.link extractors, import the link extractor. So this is going to allow us to work with and set rules to specific links that we want to follow. So I'm going to change this as well now because we don't want to use this spider template. We want to use the CrawlSpider, and there we go. So there's a few really key things to note when you're using the CrawlSpider. The first one is that you need to set rules. And the second one is that you cannot use a pass function called pass. It will overwrite the default if you do. So you need to make sure you rename this. I'm just going to call mine pass item because this is an online shop. We're going to be getting items. That's fine. The next thing we want to do is think about the rules that we want to actually use. So we're going to come down into the next part of our code here, and we're going to type rules is equal to, and this is always a tuple. So you can put multiple rules in here. I'm going to have two in this instance. So let's go ahead and just grab the site real quick. So if we come here and look at this website and we come and see we have all of these different categories at the top. Now for this demonstration purposes, I'm going to ignore the fact that I think this is a Shopify site, which is not, this is not the best way to do this. And also there is an all section, which is kind of the way that you could do it anyway. But for those cases where you don't, or maybe you want to be more specific, I'm talking about all of these different categories here. Now we don't want to have to access and go through all of these manually. That would take so much time and effort. We can actually set the rules to the link extractor so the CrawlSpider goes to these pages. So if I click on the first one here, you'll see that the URL at the top changes. I'm going to copy the URL. Let's just check how many pages have we got here. Not that many. Okay, so let's try a different one. Let's use this one here. Okay, great. So we've got different pages here. So I'm going to copy this URL and I'm going to come back to my code and I'm going to paste it in the top here so we can all have a look at it. So what I'm saying is that we can see that after the main URL, which is here, our start URL, we have this word collections and then the actual category or the collection itself. So what we can do is we can set up a rule that allows our CrawlSpider to go and find all of the links that have this collections word in it and follow them. And if we go back to the site just quickly again and we click on the, let's try the second product, we'll pick one that's in stock. We can see that the link changes again. And I'll put this one underneath so you can see. So this gives us the products part here. So I'm focusing in on these two words, collections and products, and these are going to make up the core set of my rules. So I'm going to say when the CrawlSpider finds a URL that has the word products in, we want to actually call back to our pass items function down here, and it's also just going to allow it to follow collections. So let's start writing the first rule. So let's have it as rule, which is importing from the class up here, and then the link extractor like this. So this is going to say we want to extract the links like this. Now inside here we can use two keywords. We can use allow and deny. So I'm going to say allow is equal to, and I'm just going to put in the word collections here. So this is basically saying we're allowing it to follow any links that have collections in, which is great. Now if you don't put any callback here or nothing else, it will automatically follow those links. You don't need to do anything like follow is equal to true. I think you used to need to do that, but you don't anymore. But there's a curious thing here though. So we're going to have two rules. So let's have, this is our first rule, and our second rule is going to allow products. And then we're going to have our callback is equal to our pass item, sorry. And we need a comma in between these two. So if we had a quick look at this and we have a think, we're saying this one allows to go collections and then this one allows products. However, there's a really important thing to note here that if you look at the second URL that we've got here, this has both the word collection and products in it. So what that means is this rule is going to follow these product pages automatically because the URL has collections in it, which is matched down here. Now, when you follow with CrawlSpider, when you follow these links, it will only go to those links once. So what it does is it will actually go to this link here, do nothing because this following this rule. And when it comes to the second rule for our callback of where we're actually going to scrape the data, it will say we've already been to this link because we went here when we had our collections rule. So to get around that, you also want to use the second keyword, which is deny, and put in the word products. Now this looks like it counters each other out. What it means is that this rule here will only follow links that have the word collection in and not the word products. Now I'm just using keywords for these. I'm just using a match on the full word, but you can use regex in here. There are other words that there are other ways as well. You can say that only follow if the selector is met, so like XPath or CSS. But I find that this is a nice, easy way for well-structured websites like most are these days. So basically, this is going to allow us to follow the first link, all of them out, all the way, and find the product links, and then go from there. So now we just need to build our pass item function here, so get that data out. Now, if you were doing this properly, I would highly recommend you use the item loader, and some kind of pipeline to save your data. But this is just about the CrawlSpider, this video, so I'm just going to do yield, and I'm going to put in our dictionary here. I'm going to grab this URL and I'm going to use Scrapy shell to work out where our data is. So let's move down here. Let's get rid of our double quote. Okay, and let's spell Scrapy right. This has not gone particularly well. There we go. Let's let that happen. And then we can actually just work out where we want to actually get the data from. So we can move this down a little bit further. Okay, so we're in and it's working. Control L will clear all that up. Let's open up the page again, inspect element, and I'll make this all the way over here so we can all see. Let's zoom in a bit more on this side. Too far. There we go. So I'll use this little tool up here and click on that, hover over the bit that you want. So let's go for the brand, and we can see right here, we have this div class vendor, and then the actual word, the brand that we want is in an A tag. So let's copy that and go back to our code. And we will do response.css div dot for a class, paste in the word vendor, have a space to find all the A tags that are in there, double colon, word text, because we want the text from the element, dot get, like that will actually get that text for us. There we go, that's the brand. So that's nice and easy. So let's copy that. If I'm zooming through this, that's because that's not really what this video is about. If you're interested in more like sort of this basics of Scrapy, I've got a great video for that on my channel, which I'll throw a link for somewhere probably. The next thing we want to do is the name. So we'll go back to our website. Here's the product name. And we can see we have an H1 class title. This website really is well structured. Are you surprised that I picked it? Response.css and what was it? H1.title text.get. Let's copy that because I put it up here and not in the shell. There we go. We know that works. Good. And the final thing that we want is price. And we will again find where that is. It's probably in a tag with the word price. Span class price. There's a space in here, but that's okay. We can just put price, I think. We'll copy that anyway. So we'll go up and we'll change it from H1 to the span tag. It was a class, so we can do dot price. And we'll see if that works. It does. Great. I'm not going to do any extra with this data. I just want to be able to show you that it works. So let's exit out of this. It's a Python shell after all. Clear that up. Move that down with the bar I can't see. And there we have, oh wait, that one further out, there we go. So there we have our completed spider. So let's try running it. But what I'm going to do, just for the sake of not taking forever, and scraping a whole load of data that I don't need. I'm going to put the collections, I'm going to allow this link only. So it's only going to follow links on the front page, which is the one that we're starting on here, that have this in the title. So we're only going to go to this category. But we should see the fact that this is working here, and we should see the data come back. And once I know it works, I'll remove this deny part so we can see exactly how that works as well. So, okay, let's do Scrapy crawl, and we'll see what we get back. Great, so we can see we've got an item scraped count of 71. Let me make this one bigger so it's easier to see. Item scraped count of 71. If I go back up here, we'll see, look, here's a new page that it found. It found this product page. We can see just there. So we crawled this one, get this page, because we found this one and it was on there. We can see that we are abiding the robots.txt, which is blocking us from these, which is fine, no problem. But we got lots of products coming out. So we had 71 products, I believe. Yep, 71 items that we scraped. Let's go back to the website. Let's go back from here. So I was expecting to send it to the front page, come to the links that match that collection, and then scrape all the products whilst following all the links that it could find. So if I go to page, how many's on a page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 16. Okay, great. So let's go have a look at right at the top here. Here's one I want to show you. So you can see that we're actually getting these URLs down here. And this one actually has a different collection in, which you might think, well, why did we go to this one? No, it's just slightly off the screen there, but you kind of see it, whiskey staff products, staff picks. But there's a reason, because this URL is actually on the front page and matched with our products keyword here, we actually scrape that data. So if we went to the front page again, you'll see that we ran all of those rules, both of those rules on the front page, and we picked up all these products as well. So basically, you've really got to know what it is that you're after and how you think the best way to go about getting it is. Now, if I wanted to get all of the items from this website using this method, I would quite happily just remove this keyword here and go through all the collection pages. It will ignore anything else. And if you notice any other pages that you're not interested in, you can make this into a list and you have multiple words to deny. So I'm going to remove this deny word now. I'm just going to show you what happens when we don't have that in, and we will need a new terminal, please. So let's crawl it again, and we will do output this time so we can actually see what we get. Output.json, let's save it as a JSON file. So now we're going to see that what products we get back when we don't stop the first rule from running on all of the links. Right, we got 17 back that time. And if I scroll up, you'll see that we do hit all of these pages. We do hit them all. But the problem is that when we're getting them, because of our first rule didn't have that deny products keyword in it, it's actually already visited them, so it's not going there. It's not actually triggering our callback to the parsing function that actually scrapes the data. So if I go to the output, you'll see that we only have these ones, which are the same as the front page here, these ones. So I guess the most important things are that make sure that you tweak your rules and you do what you can to make them work best for you, depending on what you're actually after. And bear in mind what I showed you here, that if you don't have deny in the first rule, it will visit the link for you the first time, and you will then not be able to do your callback on the link when you try and go there again. The second thing is just to remember to rename your parse function to something other than parse, because that will conflict with the CrawlSpider's defaults. So hopefully you have enjoyed this video and you've got something out of it. You know how to use the CrawlSpider a bit more. If this was a bit too much for you, or you're not totally sure whether you should be using the CrawlSpider or not, definitely check out this video here for more basic Scrapy stuff where I go into a lot of this, a lot more detail.